right, so this has gotten super busy, but that's okay because we're going to take all these blocks and arrange them at some point. We're just coming up with cool parts and learning cool techniques, at least in my opinion. For this next one, which is called sidechain compression, we are going to learn a very classic way of making your pad sound pump or breathe. Can you all hear my plosives? Remember talking about the microphone and the popper stopper or the pop filter? Anyways, my kick, I already went ahead and separated my drums for this. My kick, if you remember, control click. My output is 1 and 2. The hi-hat, control click, output 3 and 4, etc. And then for each of the drums, which at least if you followed me exactly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a total of 5. So my hi-hat has input, plug-in, battery, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, which is super cool because now I have my drums separated. I don't think I need this anymore. I'm going to close it. And for this demonstration, what I'm going to do is solo the kick and solo the pad because that's really all that's necessary. Bring this up in volume a little bit. So what I'm going to do is on the kick track, and in fact, now that I'm doing this, I want to move all my drums to the left, because that's how I like to set my stuff up. And in fact, I'm going to change the color on this stuff, make my drums a nice reddish hue. By the way, that's how you do that. I'm going to send my kick drum on a mono bus. Bus 1. I'm going to raise my fader to 0. I'm going to hit Option and click, and it will go directly to 0. Now, where has it gone? Nothing has changed. This is off into the ether. It's kind of sitting somewhere out on a bus stop. So what we're going to do is we're going to insert on the pad track, we're going to insert a plugin, multi-channel plugin from the Dynamics category. We're going to use the Dyne 3 compressor limiter. And you can use others, but this one's really easy to make this effect happen. All right, so bus 1 is off in the ether, sitting on a bus stop. We're going to come to the key input on this compressor, and we're going to choose bus 1. We're basically here, we're saying, hey, you have a key. We have a lock. And if we tell the lock to be the same bus as your key, you can come in. And we will use you as a sidechain. Now, what does this really mean? A compressor is a processor where you set a threshold, this orange line, that says, if you go above this threshold, we are going to push you down in volume. We are going to attenuate the signal, whatever that signal is. If we were simply to compress the pad sound, it would just get quieter if it goes above the threshold. But what we're doing by using the key input and the sidechain function is we're going to let the kick drum drive the compressor and push down in rhythmic volume, or push down in volume rhythmically onto the pad. So right now, I'm going to come back to this actually, and I'm going to put it into pre. And what pre is going to allow us to do is allow me to take this out of solo, and you'll still hear the effect on the pad. So I'm going to go ahead and just press play with both of them playing right now. Okay, you already hear it. Okay, it works really nicely on the long chords. Those 3 and the 4th measure are a little bit funky. I'm going to raise my threshold. Doesn't need to be so dramatic. Now you can do things like how quickly do you want it to attenuate? How long do you want it to hold on for? Do you want it to push down more? It's a ratio. The higher, if it goes above by a certain amount, it gets pushed down by a certain amount. Like that's too much what I just did with the release, because it's never going back up. So that's pretty obvious. All right, that is sidechain compression, the classic pumping and breathing style. Okay, do as I say, not as I do. My master fader is at -11. That is because I did not want to blow out the speakers in the classroom. Please don't judge. Keep this at 0. Change your mix as needed, but we are not doing that yet. We are just compiling parts. So what else can I say about this? Actually, something very important. I don't want that pad to be like that all the time. That would be really annoying. But you can bounce it for me, 4 measures of it pumping. I want to make sure that I can turn that on at a certain point. So I'm going to come to my kick track where I inserted that bus send, and I'm going to open up my automation lane, and I'm going to click on velocity, and notice that I have that send in my automation choices. And level, literally, this is the fader on the send. So if I open that up, I can bring it down. My fader comes down. So let's say that I want that pumping to start at measure 5. Here it comes. All right, so now you have send automation along with sidechain compression, because that is how we would want to use it in a song. I am deleting that because I like to think of my songs later as I'm arranging them, as opposed to the individual parts always. Okay, there you go, sidechaining.